Okay, cool. We're in the clear. It's not happened.
They've picked the Lina though, so someone is going to be playing that Lina again. Probably Koitha.
Come on. Faceless
Their
Void.
second
Faceless
pick.
Void.
I'm going to
Come
do
on.
it. Void.
We're sweltering in anticipation, but they might take a little time on this pick, and who can blame them?
They're on an RN.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little
Unfortunate.
bit about this Lina while we're waiting. Would you definitely say that Team Liquid are a mid-Lina team, or have you seen a Tiger player?
Has he played it recently? Of course, like he can play it. You know, Tiger is an exceptional player. But in the last, the games that he played so far.
I don't think so. Oh, they did it!
Yes!
Let's go! I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
But they can still flex it, Sheep. You know, like this still could
that's
just be a
true.
carry, and then we're bored, all right? Because like carry Void's like whoop-de-whoop. Off-lane Void, that's where the stonks are at. But
You're right.
early
But they
days.
did stomp with the carry Void too. So
That's true.
my problem with Void is when they do no damage for like half of an hour and then they just lose the game. But I feel like Chicken Fighters, they know how to make this Void work, so I'm down.
If I'm fighters right now, though, I'm putting this to offlane. Like, if I'm seeing a Slardar potentially Lina offlane duo into my Void, like, So I hope, because of this, it actually is an offlane, because, like, laning purposes, you don't want to lane into what is Slardar Lina or Slardar plus any range. Like, if Liquid go Willow or something as well, like, it's you hate playing Void like this.
Mm-hmm. What sort of telltale picks are we looking around this offlane Void? Because that's, to me, that Snapfire points to an offlane Void, because that's strong damage outside the Chrono. You don't need the Void themselves to have damage. So what else are you looking for them to pick up that makes you go, this is definitely an offlane Void? Aside from like a Terrorblade or something that obviously precludes it.
They have played, when they played it before in the previous series, they had a Drow carry. So that was their source of damage for that. They have the Snapfire, obviously, to do Chrono damage too. So I would like some ranged cores to complement it a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Just like, you don't have to have that classic form of damage through magic damage into the Chrono. I think you just need that reliable damage that will scale throughout the game. So ranged cores, play behind the Void, and just play normally.
Team Liquid, so
Supreme
far so
plays
familiar.
Invoker?
That is one. Yeah, Supreme plays it. He played it in
that's true.
these qualifiers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He does.
He does, yeah.
It's like TA, Invoker, Puck, Shadow Fiend, maybe during DPC time. Yeah, sounds about right.
It looks like Chicken Fighters don't think this is a mid lane Lina, because they're banning out that TA and Lone Droid, a Koitha special. Both fair enough, fair play to them. Team Liquid banning out that Terrorblade, as you might hope they would and should have yesterday.
But this Terrorblade ban, this is the respect that Liquid has. Like, this Void will just probably be offlane, right? Like, when Liquid picks Slardar like this, they're forcing the flexibility of a hero. Because, like, in this scenario, it's a little bit more, like, wonky, because it's a Void. But, like, imagine if it was a different type of flex. Like, you pick the counter to where the flex can go. So then, as a team, you're unflexing the hero, right? And this is exactly what Liquid did with the Slardar. It's like, all right, now you've picked this cool Void, but we know it's going to be your offlane. So now they just ban out, like, these bigger carries, and they're going to have a pretty nice time. So, yeah, Liquid just... They're very much ready for the creativity of Chicken Fighters.
Chicken Fighters banning up. What sort of carry do you want to go into an offlane Void? Do you want something tanky that can't get burst down, or is that not a concern?
No, I think Faceless Void is probably giving your carry a free lane, right? Snapfire is quite aggressive. It's kind of difficult to play into her, especially with the Shredder Max build, but Faceless Void is not scaring you. He's a notoriously low damage hero, so I think if anything, you're quite happy that you're safe lane. You can pick relatively freely what you want.
Greed is good, for sure, yeah. And then they go for that Invoker on Chicken Fighters, because it's now just, like, you go Quartz Works as well, you have this Alacrity eventually, and you just throw onto your carry. So now you can have the setup from the Chrono, you've got the damage from the Snapfire and the Invoker with Sunstrike, and then whatever carry they pick will just be able to play a normal game. But Chicken Fighters might still be confident and decide to put the Void carry if they see some like Zibe offlane to punish, because once again, Chicken Fighters are second pick. They are going to be able to keep their carry and offlane covered until the very final moment. So even though we're now talking about offlane Void, they might do different laning setups, but pick an offlaner. So it's still up in the air. But yeah, Chicken Fighters are ticking the box of making sure that the Void can play a game where if you use Chrono, someone will die. Ooh.
IO for Team Liquid.
IO?
That's a classic one.
Oh, then they pick Wyvern, counter to the IO, but then you just go, is it Gyro now for Liquid?
I would say Gyro. Mickey likes the Gyro.
Yeah. I'm just
But is it because most people are picking Wisp with Gyro, but Gyro not necessarily with Wisp. Are there any other heroes that get like to pick with Wisp at the moment that you like?
Yes, but like because you see Void and then you see Wyvern, these other heroes that aren't Gyro who can't farm as quick don't feel so great. Like you wouldn't. They just go for a Slark.
Okay.
Ooh.
What?
Okay, wow.
We've not seen a lot of Stark shoot.
Alright.
Tell me why.
Slark is, in my opinion, I can't speak for much pro games because he doesn't get picked in pro games.
Say it,
so
Sheep. I know
it's
what
hard
you're gonna
to
say. Just say it. It's good. Don't worry.
I don't think he's a good laner. I don't think he can apply pressure. I mean, this is what we were saying, right? The Faceless Void offlane is going to be such a weak laner that they might feel comfortable to pick something on the weaker side. I think Slark is on that weaker side, but you're also in the situation where Faceless Void is quite famously a hero that has been picked against Slark to counter him because you just chrono him and he can't use his Dark Pact. So I think it's pretty sus from Liquid to want to play it here. I guess they're more confident because it's off lane, so it's not going to have this big advantage items to kill him in the chrono. But I mean, Chicken Fighters have more than enough spell damage to kill him in the chrono, so I'm assuming they're hoping that this IO will be able to keep him alive through it, relocate him out, whatever. So
because Team Liquid are obviously a clever bunch of boys. They know what they're doing. They're not randomly picking. Well, I mean, they have done that once, but they're not randomly picking heroes with no reasoning behind them. So would you say the reasoning is that they feel they've got a strong enough lane for the Slark and they can keep him alive through the chrono? Is it that, or is there anything else here that you think is an advantage of this Slark that they might pick it up?
I think the point is like they don't really want to go for the traditional IO partners, and in this type of game, if they have Slardar Lina in one lane and then they have Slark IO in another, because Chicken Fighters have this Void, like he's not going to have a good time playing either side lane now. Like they've doubled down on removing him from the game. And if you look at the style of draft from Chicken Fighters, it's like Void plus the lads. If Void doesn't have a game, his chrono, it doesn't matter if you have this because like you're not going to be able to kill heroes. Like the support duo of Wyvern and Snapfire, it's good later into the game, but early on it's the same story as game one, right? It's like Chicken Fighters support duo don't really do much, but once they scale to a decent point, they're devastating. Exact same thing here. Like if Void is shut down in laning phase, there isn't a recovery plan from Chicken Fighters. They have to turtle and they don't have that farming accelerant, be it the TA farming jungle or Medusa this time. So there's a lot more emphasis on if Liquid win lanes, they can just fully choke out Chicken Fighters from the game. There isn't going to be that fortified like jungling from them. So I can see why they go for a Slark, because they just want to win lanes. They just want to run at Chicken Fighters.
Team Liquid banning out carries here. They banned 4 in a row. One last ban. If you're Chicken Fighters, what sort of carry do you want here?
Yes, the beat Slark carry.
do you think they go Bloodseeker? Or do you think he gets bopped too hard by
Bloodseeker,
Slardar?
as I was thinking.
That's a classic. Oof.
Yeah.
They do have last pick again, right? So
that's true. I'm only concerned because there's for Chicken Fighters, because the only hard lockdown they have for Slark is Wyvern ult and Chrono, which are both these huge long cooldown teamfight ults. Otherwise, we're playing into Invoker, Snapfire. They're not going to shut down. They're not going to catch the Slark. So it does seem like a pretty sick game, especially when he's buffed up by this IO. So they need something that maybe a little bit shorter cooldown to flame.
We need to see what Liquid picks here, though. Okay, they go for an Oracle. So it is going to be IO Slardar offlane duo, Lina mid, and then Oracle Slark actually. So it's not even going to be the IO Slark lane. Maybe they do setups different, but
it's Insania's comfort hero, very much so. He's always, whenever I speak to Insania, he's always telling me how much he loves Oracle. So that's a very comfortable pick for them, I think. Would you agree, Sheep?
Yeah, I think these are good as well because whatever lane they put it in, the Oracle is going to be good against both supports from Chicken Fighters. You can remove the debuff of the minus armor from Little Shredder against Snapfire. You can remove the Wyvern's Q, right? It's just, I think either way they're giving their cores these good safe lanes in the side. I don't know what aggressive carry Chicken Fighters could possibly pick here to provide a threat, especially into Slardar, and all these range heroes have been banned out like Drow, Luna. It seems difficult. Medusa's also gone. I feel like Chicken Fighters are kind of in a corner here draft-wise.
Could they... I think, yeah, like, even... Morphling doesn't even sound that good. But, like, yeah, they're in a position right now where they either go for all-out winning the run at you, like go for, like, a Leshrac style of carry, but that's not what Charlie plays. And that would be, like, a counter to Slark. Like when you have Oracle IO as your supports, they are always propping up cores to do damage. And like Liquid's lineup is about damage over time, like chipping you, poking you, resetting the fight with Pounce, reaching back up, going in, relocating out, coming back in. Whilst Chicken Fighters is very much like we fight or we don't. Like we curse and kill you, we chrono kill you, we don't. So I think, yeah, Chicken Fighters, they need one more hero to run it up in front and do some damage to enable everyone. So, go on.
Maybe PA. No, mine.
Beastmaster, apparently.
They're actually
that
doing
is a void
carry. Void? Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair. This is a very anti-void game, to be very clear. There's a relocate from IO, there's an Oracle, and then there's the laning threat of like Slardar. So Chicken Fighters need to make sure void gets into the game. Otherwise it could be difficult.
How about you, Sheep? Who do you think is going to win this?
I'm so unsure about the Slark that I'm not confident on Team Liquid, but I do like overall the fact that they've doubled down on the save against this Chrono, which and even Raw, they picked Raw into Oracle. They're pretty much always going to get saved when they get gone on, unless they're able to jump this back line. So it feels very difficult for Chicken Fighters to execute, but if they can, if they can get this perfect Chrono on the supports or something, get this Cataclysm going, I can see a Chicken Fighters win here. And they're playing Comfort, so I like that a lot.
Okay, well, we are feeling good about this Team Liquid draft, and can they flow their way into a 2-0 victory? We're going to hand over to Avo Plus and Seek and Strike, who hopefully have calmed down and reset their voices for this game 2.
I calmed down so much that my voice went away. What a tragedy. I'm very excited for this game number 2 between Liquid and Chicken Fighters. It's promising, as Sheep said. A lot of comfort picks for Chicken Fighters, but frankly, a difficult void game. I would also say the same thing. So we're gonna see what happens as we get into the game. There's been an immediate disconnect. Oh, Boxy can't reconnect. Oh, okay. Great.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah, so you're going to have to stick with us for a while, guys, because I think we're going to have to remake the lobby here, just waiting for confirmation with the admins. But yeah, I mean, I agree, right? Because that's what I was thinking. Because this is one hell of a Slark game, right? We've got 2 great supports to buff you up or relocate, if even a hard dispel or the false promise isn't enough, right, to relocate you. So I think that the plan is here. I think like T-Gov, I think mentioned, or someone, is to look for the supports. I think that's actually pretty key here, because I don't think you're really too scared of Slark if you have at least taken care of the Oracle and the Wisp. That's a big if, of course. But I think we do have tools of pretty easily taking care of these 2 heroes, because I think no matter what you throw at Slark, if Liquid are behind this Chronosphere or behind the initiation, they've got answers to everything that you could possibly throw at. So I think you have to take a different approach here, and that's where I think Chicken Fighters are going to have to kind of take some creative chronos and take some creative fights. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing out from them.
I agree. I would give as a benefit to Chicken Fighters that while it is not an easy Void game whatsoever, it's a pretty great Cataclysm game for Invoker. You have some great setup for the Cataclysm, some relatively weak heroes. A lot of your healing and your damage mitigation will help a bit against Kata, but it's not going to save the Io or the Oracle. They're stunned. It's not going to save the Lina. Slardar might be the only one to survive it. Slark is also not a hero that tanks up a lot, right? And also a hero that has pretty poor stat gain. They're all killable by the Invoker. So maybe if I was Chicken Fighters, I'd consider... You build a Void that's being built all the time. Thank you, this is great. You build a Void that's being built all the time, which is more of a carry Void that can fight outside of Chrono, right? And the only thing you use Chrono for is to use the Cataclysm or the Mortimer's Kisses, right? And the Chrono is just an extra, because as the panel said, I feel like the Void's Chrono is just very cancelled. And even what he can do in Chrono is cancelled. From Relocate to the False Promise to even the Shadow Dance or the Shard. Like, you have so many ways to just nullify him dealing damage inside that Chrono. Even a Fate's Edict will annoy him in this Chrono, honestly.
Oh yeah, for sure. And on that quick note, because I think Cataclysm is actually pretty key here, right? Because I think obviously everything is Cata Chrono. It's going to be this huge team fight wombo combo spell, and absolutely that's the case. But let's talk about some of the secondary effects of a Cataclysm, right? Is it creates a lot of panic. You see 2 Sunstrikes on your location, and you're immediately looking to click elsewhere. If you can imagine in the chaos in the middle of a melee, right? Especially when there's so many important abilities to make sure that you get off, I can imagine that could cause a little bit of confusion. And unlike unlike a Disruption, right? Because Shadow Demon Disruption will not spawn Cataclysm Sunstrikes around it. You are still on the map during a Shadow Dance, so you will actually spawn those Sunstrike. So, for example, if Slark is split pushing and he gets chronoed but gets off the Shadow Dance before, that Cataclysm still can be quite a problem for him if he doesn't have, big if, of course, if he doesn't have anyone to save him. So there is still a little bit of counterplay. And if Supreme plays this Invoker like he did yesterday, I would expect him to go for, I think it was third item, right? It was Midas. No, it was Vessel, Midas, and then Ags, I believe, for Supreme is what we saw in his Quaswex Invoker.
Genuinely, I think this game, though, if you're Supreme, you go and you're in lobby, by the way. You go in the build that Borania did in a very similar game to this, where he was playing against. I remember at least it was in a bad and it was +1 Dispel. I don't remember what else it was, right? But he was like, all right, I'm not going to use my Urn. I'm not going to use my Cold Snap, let's be honest. I mean, you have Oracle to Dispel, the Dark Pact as well. Occasionally, IL will just save you. It's going to be a tough game for you to be able to use the Cold Snap kills early. So either you just go Urn and you don't go for the Spirit Vessel, which has some uses this game, but also there's a lot of Dispels, like I said. Or alternatively, you just rush the Midas as soon as possible, and you go into the Cataclysm as soon as possible. That's what Borania did in that one game. I thought it was pretty clever, and it worked out really well for him. He actually won that game, so I think it's an option for Supreme. He is an incredibly good Invoker, so I do trust that he's probably considering this as an option.
Yeah, and I think something that's a little bit unique to the Invokers is, as I think both East and Western Europe have a lot of really strong Invoker players. Something that I noticed about him that we'll get into, and we'll get into a little bit more when the game starts, is that he likes to go for points and exhort a little bit earlier than most other Invokers, especially with the Quaswex playstyle. People like... who am I thinking of? Rabel, who is a really great Invoker player in Eastern Europe, but also I forget who else. Usually they'll go for the first point in Exhort at level 10, but I think for Supreme it's I think level 8 or even maybe 7. So that does leave you with a little bit less control with less Quas Orbs and whatnot. But yeah, other than that, it's gives you more damage early on, and we need this damage early, right? Because if you can get a nuke off, if you can maybe get a kill before the relocate comes out during that little cast animation or whatever it is, the delay, or if you can get it before the promise comes through, then I think you're going to be in a good position here. As we're just now remaking the draft. Second lobby is launched, so these bans. Oh, we get to predict the bans. Okay, hello guys, welcome to the draft panel. We are now getting underway with game number 2. What do you think we're going to see here, Alvaro?
I think I would really like if Liquid went for like I don't know, let's say like Lina. I'd really like a Oracle, Io, Slark. I think are really solid, and then a Slardar as well.
Slardar. Slark is good too, though.
Lina, Slardar. Slark is good. Slark, Io, Oracle. Yeah, I would say that. What do you think Chicken Fighter should go after this Snapfire?
I think they need damage in Chrono now, right? Because you've got Snapfire, but Slardar's a pretty tanky boy. I think he can actually live through probably a Chrono level 1 and some kisses. So there it is, right? Invoker going for some Exhort. I think this gives you great late game potential. But there's the counter from Liquid. A great answer immediately with this Wisp. We're still flexing this Lina, so be aware of that. And a Slark to go with it. There it is. So not only the Prisoner, but the Guard here are going to try and break their way through the Chicken Fighters. Big strength on this hero, though. Oh my goodness. Look at that. It's an Insania Classic.
Yep, and now you get the Beastmaster's last pick, also a Shibik Classic. I'm excited for this game, Richie. It feels like I've seen this draft somewhere before, but it just feels so familiar. I like it, though. I think, I mean, in all honesty, though, I do like the Liquid draft a bit better. I feel like Chicken Fighters should do a lot for this to work. But frankly, seeing Chicken Fighters in the past games, like even in the last game, I mean last game was not their most solid performance compared to what we saw against Hellbear Smashers or what we saw against Viking, but in those games they looked strong. And whereas other teams I might not give the credit where like this is too hard a draft to execute, I feel like Chicken Fighters are able to do it. Like they really have been coming on strong. In Spanish, we use a word when a team is strong, which is empilado. You know, it means like you're coming in strong, you're confident, you're powerful, and that makes your Dota 10 times better. I feel like Chicken Fighter is empilado right now, and they can totally make this work. So,
not to be confused with an empanada, which is a very delicious Mexican dish. Or yeah, it's they're powered up, right? Is essentially what it is, and I think you're right.
I'm glad that's what you said. Okay, go on.
You gotta be ready to go with this lineup, because I think it's really execution based. I think you have given yourself the tools to get through this Slark. And I think once Slark is dead, unless it goes 90 or 102 minutes or 104 minutes even, which, I mean, that never happens to Liquid. I think, like, we shouldn't even talk about that because that's, like, such a low percentage. But if it does go late game, like, maybe you have a problem because then you have secondary cores online, like this Lina was last time, like Boxy was especially last game. But for now, it's like Slark, and then that's it. And then you're not really scared of the support duo too much. So we'll see here how they're going to be looking to execute on this, because it's going to be tricky. And there's no one checklist of a team fight here, Avo, that is going to always get them the team fight win. It's really going to depend on where the supports are, who you see on the map, what the levels are looking like. You know, it's going to be a difficult one. A lot of flying blind here, flying in the dark.
That is very cute. Hearts for Samael. Oh, big love for Samael. Nice Liquid. Hey, look at that. Aww.
That is very nice.
I wonder if they'll do that as well when they're playing against OG. Or if they get to play against OG. I guess that's the question.
First they got to get through the Chicken Fighters, right?
Yep. And Chicken Fighters, I'm very happy to see them doing well. Like, they talked about this. I think a lot of people, based on the results in the last season, they were kind of surprised with the results here, and I think that's fair to say. But at the same time, Chicken Fighters, they're no noobs to the Tier 2 scene in general. We also have some veterans of the Tier 1 scene in Europe as well. And they've always been, like, I think these players have already proven themselves. That's definitely not in question. Sometimes are they good, like, are they having a good mental moment? Is this the right draft? Is this a team that mixes well? But you know these players are bringing their A game here. I mean, the only player I guess might be the least known perhaps would be Supreme, but he was styling on Hippomaniacs for like a solid 2 years, particularly as Invoker and his TA. I am so happy we get to cast Supreme Invoker. He is a beast on this hero.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Lots of really great Invoker players here in Western Europe, especially on the Tier 2 scene. Stormer, of course, formerly of Hellbear Smashers. But look at this block from Quakefa, actually. Speaking about the mid lane matchup, already underneath the tower. I don't know if he meant to do this, but with Dragon Slave level 1, he should be able to pick up the CS. Yeah, nicely done. Okay, I think this was on purpose. He wants an early level 2 here versus the Invoker. Oh, but a nice deny from Supreme.
All right. So Dragon's level 1 for securing the range creep as opposed to harassing the Invoker. I'm assuming because Invoker being ranged hero, the harassment's probably not going to come out, and also he has quads to heal himself. The lane though for Mickey, actually one thing that Beastmaster is really good for that we didn't really mention is the lane, particularly against heroes like it's just a solid laner against Slark. And Oracle, he can kill the boars, but it's not as easy, and a good Beastmaster can deal with him as well. And Oracle usually uses a lot of mana to deal with the boars, so the laning state should be actually quite strong for Chicken Fighters. And if they can snowball off this, especially if they deny the Slark, they're not going to get the snowball effect that Liquid tends to seek in the early game.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if they're going to be able to strike out there and accomplish on that, because it's something that Tigov kind of said off the cuff that I think is actually pretty huge and instrumental to Liquid's possibly game plan here if they want to go for an earlier win. Hold that thought. Era in trouble. They're going to hit him with the root now. A couple of axes thrown on over towards Mickey, but it's not going to stop him from getting that first blood and that first stack of permanent agility stolen. Is that we don't really have great recovery mechanisms this time, right? He compared it to last game with a TA Dusa. Those guys can farm in the jungle forever, right? And they'll come out going even with some of the best farmers in the game. That's not the case here, right? With a Faceless Void or with an Invoker especially. So that's going to be possibly a big concern. So if we can get a really great start here for Liquid as well, that could put Chicken Fighters in a very difficult position.
Taiga has a tether, but he's hoping not to get a lock, and he's also destroying the sentry ward along the way, and he's going to be fine. In the top lane, something Liquid tends to do, which I love as well, is that when you have a technically losing lane, or a lane that's not as strong, or the mid team looks pretty good in the lane, you go in and bait them to see if they are going to overextend, trying to look for the kill, and indeed Era did, and then you know that you have kill potential. Like, Oracle Sark is not a bad lane for kill potential. And it tends to happen, we see this a lot with other lanes, like, say, Magnus Lina is also very similar, or even Magnus Slardar, any lanes with stuns. In fact, there was a big point with the that actually we saw in the major. Oh, Boxy, sorry, fighting in the bottom lane. Charlie, they're gonna get the stun here. Charlie, close time, but has a time walk. He's gonna save himself very far though for Boxy, and the Splitter Blast will kill off Boxy. And Io gave him a lot of chances, but unfortunately he dies. With the creep wave pushing near his tower, hopefully not too many creeps die before he gets back.
Yeah, that's a pretty big win for Chicken Fighters. Like, it's just a kill in the off lane, sure, but like this combo, like this lane is not meant to lose. You don't pick Wisp as a position 4, you know, and lane him with a Slardar with, you know, obviously an attack-based passive to then die first, right, in this matchup. You want to at least trade him away, and the fact that they're not able to do that is not very it's not a great sign, but it gets stronger, right? There's still plenty more opportunities. But it's like losing first blood with like a Tusk and a Stardar lane. It's like, ooh, we didn't really draft this lane to do this, so hopefully they can recover that soon.
Yeah, is the overzealousness sometimes in the fact that having kill potential in a lane matters so much. I was not expecting the Void and Winterwire to be able to do this, but 1 or 2 lucky time blocks, and of course a good usage there of the time block. It's something that you talk to a couple of carries nowadays, and many like pro level tier 1 carries. I'll tell you, Void is just great because of time block, not even because of the Chrono. Like that's what they love about it, you know, especially with the Shard and the Axe. He actually has really good core-to-core matchups, even when the Chrono's on cooldown, because he has a stun, he has heal, he has backtrack, which is technically another source of healing, really, better than evasion. Like it's amazing. It's really, really solid. And hope that's what I'm thinking Chicken Fighters is just hoping for. Get to a point where even though Slark is stealing Essence, Void just bursts you down, and you can win with a time block strats. As long as you don't get leaped, of course.
Yep. Sounds good to me. Top lane, by the way, something I really want to comment on is how Insania is laning here. He's going for the very, very standard Oracle build, of course, maxing the flames as Mickey is bullied away a bit. But Oracle is one of the best lane supports, actually, versus a Beastmaster. Because although it sucks to have to use all of your magic damage against boars, it does really weaken the Beastmaster's normal, like, big power spike in lane, right? He's back after the Ags were nerfed. He's back to just playing around boars mostly in lane. And Oracle's going to do a great job of taking care of those as they get the kill down bottom onto Peksu.
But this is a lane matchup that Shiba knows how to play, you can tell, because if Oracle goes a bit too far, he's not a hero with any save for himself, right? So he just dies. So if you can see Shiba's positioning with the boars, he can't play a free lane, but like I said, a good Beastmaster knows how to play against Oracle these days. I mean, it's not like AA, but you don't have the free kill on like a, say, a Stifling Dagger from the PA or something like that, right? You see, immediately they see Insania, and they just retreat the boars, and they continue to harass the Slark. And Era is always keeping himself between the boars and Insania, so he can always threaten this kill, which I like. I think they're playing this lane well on Chicken Fighters, honestly.
Yep. And of course, the drawback for this is then you don't have a lot of that magic damage just for the casual harass to allow Mickey maybe to pick up a kill, right? Like, you're not going to be seeing this combo too much on the Beastmaster. One, because he's super tanky, especially going for the crown first. Seems like we might have a...
Oh, he's going to dive blocks. Nice kill. I don't think he was expecting the time block there.
Nope.
Yeah, that deserves some laughter. I don't know what else you do. Like, that time block just killed him, really.
Is there a Dom creep that you think is like really good this game for Shibe? I know it's the build right now for Beastmaster, but I'm trying to think if there's like a specific one he would want.
I think Centaur's awesome in this game, honestly.
Okay.
Like, because you can just use the Centaur to get to the backline, stun Oracle before you can get False Promise off or something. And what is Oracle gonna... Like, does Oracle have to care about the creep that's coming at him? You know, it's tough, especially when the team fights become hectic. I think anything with a stun that can prevent Oracle is useful. Another option would be the... no joke, at least in the earlier, the Mana Burn creep has some utility here. The, what is it? What the hell call it? Mind Stealer?
Yeah, the Satyr Mind just Flesh or Flayer or something. I think it's Mind Flayer, I don't know. The Taiga is going to escape down bottom again with the tether. Nice job.
Yeah, so there's some use of that, especially against like a Slardar. Well, I mean, he has the IO, but you can actually take away some of the Oracle's mana. Usually they ignore that creep, so you can get a lot. But I think Centaur is just the basic thing you can do. Centaur is just too good.
Perhaps the Purge creep this game. What are we purging? I guess just Guardian Sprint, right? Not much else. Might help you pick up a couple of kills.
Yeah, Fate's Edict, right?
Yep, good point. Fate's Edict, yep, completely dispellable. Yeah, okay. There's a couple of use cases here.
And Purifying Flames heal, actually. There's a couple of things, right?
Yeah.
That Purge should work like that. Yeah, so... I think that's decent. I think you got a couple purges, but I do feel like it's a Centaur again. It's just too useful. And as a Beastmaster, you want to run at the enemy. You don't have to like, you don't want to try playing 4D chess. Like, what's the best creep? What's the optimal thing I can find that nobody's ever thought about? Just get stunned. Get stunned.
TP bottom. Right? Supreme's gonna be ganking. Has the urn, but no charges. Boxing needs to get in range of a tether, but Taiga can't get away.
So we've talked about it. Usually the mid will try to gank top first, or if you're radiant, of course, you'll try to gank the safe lane first. But obviously here you have an Oracle, Dispel, so there's no point in doing that. Instead you go for the bottom lane, get your earn charges, and then later on, if you see an opportunity top, go ahead and go for it. But ideally, just keep harassing bottom and make Slardar's game just impossible.
Yeah, top's really hard. I think we need like a Chrono top, maybe even onto Oracle. Just let Mickey go. I think right now with Shadow Dance, he's a little bit unkillable. So I think you just look to boot him out from the lane, take his tower, and start to try and close off his map. Oh, speaking of Chrono, it was mid lane. And actually, it's a good one. It's going to pick up the kill onto Koikva.
Okay. Actually, very important kill on Koikva, honestly. Lina has this issue where you're really easy to kill early, and you can abuse that a bit with the Invoker. Tornado's easy to put her out of position. You have some decent stuns, and then this Chicken Fighter's starting to recover from an early game that was just... It wasn't great for them, honestly. Despite the kills they got in the lanes, they still falter in terms of net worth. But with these kills, they're hopefully recovering, and they can take advantage of this early Beastmaster power spike. It's just difficult on the Slark. I guess you only have a small window opportunity before False Promise comes out, with Primal Roar might kill the Slark, but you have to bait at the Dark Pact first. So it's a really, really tough lane kill here for Shiba. He might want to rotate mid and get Lina instead.
He is going straight for this Helm first. Yeah, I mean, you can look to go mid. Yeah, you need the Tornado
like this,
to
by
connect,
the way.
though. Okay, I like
this is the earn Midas as opposed to going for the Vessel, because there's too many dispels, no point in the Vessel. It does stop healing, but it's just not worth it for the gold, and you go Midas, and if you want Vessel later, it's an option, but right now you just want to farm and get Cataclysm as soon as possible.
Quick for ganking bottom. Unfortunately, there's no core here, just a wild Peksu here flying around in the trees, gathering whatever experience he can, trying to get up to level 6. Quakefa's going to go hunting. Peksu's got Arctic Burn ready to go. There's no LSA for 4 more seconds, but there is a Laguna Blade. Hey, that's enough damage.
Quick was, why do I need to stun you? I have damage. The best stun is death. Now you're stunned for 20 seconds. And then they go and kill and try to take the tower. I feel like Chicken Fighter should have been maybe rotating. I guess Beastmaster now has freedom to take the top tower, but he's being a bit slower. And Liquid, as they always do so well in the early game, they're proposing the tempo, despite the fact that they really shouldn't be the ones doing so. And now they take a tower in return. You're too late to respond in Chicken Fighters. You don't have that. And you haven't gotten any kills either. So, well done by Liquid. You can start opening up your map and continue to get these little pickoffs.
Yep. Oh, Didirin. It's a nice one for Quakefa. A little bit low on the mana, though, so he might go home and regen, farm a little bit more. Yeah, he's about to finish up BOTs. We'll just pop it now and keep farming. Is there a stack for him? There isn't. Well, whatever. Get farming with it. Just stay out on the map and regen up a bit more. That's going to be BOTs finished up then. We almost have Midas finished, and real quick, Supreme's first point in Exort is going to be here at level 9. I believe usually he just starts to pile on the points now, especially when he gets Midas. The XP is going to be flowing on in.
Yep. And this is a pretty good time for Midas, considering you got Earn as well. Like, a lot of minutes is not bad. Especially against Alina, who's usually a pretty good laner. Shiba managed to equalize the map control. He went for the Hellburst Smasher early. Best creeper actually pushing because of the attack speed aura. Like I said, it's just, you know, creeps go burr, right? You don't want to 4D chest yourself. Yeah, you might be able to get kills with the Centaur, but right now, just do what you need to do, which is push and take the tower. Hopefully you can go mid and do the same. That's the... With that, you can take over the enemy jungle, and then as Radiant, you take over the superior part of the map. Roshan control, the better jungle, you keep your triangle safe, even though it's not that great of a triangle compared to Dyer's, and Liquid shouldn't be able to respond.
11-minute Midas, like you said, going to be looking real strong. And yeah, Shiba, you know, proving that if you lose to Chicken Fighters, they draft you for the team as in comes the Hellbear Smasher now. So who knows if they manage to get the victory over Liquid, what do they get? Do they get a big old horse?
That's a good point. What did they get from Viking then?
The Beastmaster? Maybe he's got a couple Viking skins, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Actually, they just Kezu. They just took Kezu. Kezu's actually... He's currently whispering in Shiba's ear how to play the Beastmaster.
That'd be great.
He did go for the boots now with a helm and taking over the enemy jungle. It's something you can do even without taking the tower when you have a strong enough offlaner, much like Timbersaw, right? You can actually play extra aggressive even if you don't have map control because you know you can beat anyone in the mano-a-mano.
Okay, so Charlie was looking for the Chrono bottom on a boxy, but there was a stupid wisp in the way. Insania's got level 6. He's positioned right behind, but the beautiful Chrono is just going to catch him. Kisses on top to secure the kill. Perfectly calculated here. Insania does not even get the chance to cast the ultimate. Too much physical damage anyway. Taiga is going to be here to party, but unfortunately he is only going to fall to the deafening blast of Supreme. I believe this tower is going to be the extra bounty on top as we get the double thumbs up from Artur Babayat himself.
They didn't see Oracle, right, in that play, or did they see him beforehand and then guessed where he was going? Because that was an impressive Chrono. That was very good.
That's a good point. That's a good question. I can only assume they saw him because I think the Tornado maybe scouted him, but I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong.
It is daytime, so they do have extended vision. So I mean, that was a really good Chrono. Catching the Oracle.
Still a damn good Chrono, regardless, for sure.
Yeah. If it was luck, you know, Shiba got stuck in the Roche pit last time, so I think it's fine. Like, you deserve a bit of luck.
Absolutely.
Okay, we see Liquid response though. They need to go for a kill. I think it's the right choice. If you go for the IO, you can't relocate with someone, but Boxy will start a bit stronger, so this should be working. Shibe, the target. He has a Centaur already. He does get a stomp off. Oh, trying it.
The neutral.
It's so difficult. The positioning by Liquid is good. However, Winter's Curse will try to reset the fight. However, the Dragon Slave takes down Shibe before he can respond to this or even run away. Insania wants to kill the Helm of the Dominator creep, and he will succeed with the help of the Lina, who actually gets the gold here.
And really, they're still going for more, actually. Peksu in some trouble, eats the Laguna Blaze, going to heal himself back up. Boxy in a rough spot, but he's got Taiga to keep him topped up. Mickey now, who was stealing Ancients before, is going to go ahead and pick up that kill. More agility for me, thank you very much, as he's looking to get that Echo Saber already fetched to him on the courier. Nice plays from Liquid, recognizing that, hey, the only threat is going to be the Curse, and they dispatch of him. Even going for Roche now. Love it.
Nice. That is good because, as you know, this game, you're not going to be able to contest the top control of the map, though they're doing it to some degree with the wards, right? But ideally, just take the Roshan, get rid of this problem, and then even if Radiant wants to play the top part, it doesn't benefit them that much. It's the biggest advantage Radiant has anyway, the Roshan control. Look, the Mortimer skits from the triangle, too safe, but Liquid does have a ward there, so they could try to force a fight yet again. And with Slardar, this Roshan, it doesn't take too long for them to kill it. Relocate? What is Io bringing back? Oh, it's Slaughter. Okay, that makes sense.
Chrono's up
Box
soon,
is like, hey,
though.
I want to join the fight. I don't have TP. Oh, they didn't come with smoke? Interesting play.
I think they need to get a fight first, because Chrono and Curse are all going to line up. We won't have Kisses
Yes.
for another 80 seconds.
Oh, they saw the ward.
But we still have a Primal Aurora that's yet to be used here. Tornado, there it is. It's only going to catch one, but Boxy already out of position. Mickey out from the Shadow Dance, not finding any kills
Chrono?
now, so there's going to be a little bit of healing. Chronosphere is going to catch two. There's Taiga going to try and get the relocate out, but can't in time, as Slark is already a dead fish. Insania is going to be next to drop, and that just might be Chicken Fighters then taking the first Roche instead of Liquid.
He just used the relocate. They had no relocate. It was just the healing from the
Thank you.
That's why Charlie... by the way, commending Charlie yet again for these Chronos. My goodness, his voice is good. He's always being... Like, you think, why doesn't he use the Chrono on the choke point? It's because he's waiting for the Oracle. If you don't catch the Oracle in the Chrono, you got saved. That Chrono feels useless, especially with a double damage. But if you catch the Oracle, you're done. You can kill the Slark so easily. Charlie's performance in the Void for now has been really, really impressive. And I also like that they saw the ward from Liquid, and of course they knew they had to de-ward it, but they were prepared in case Liquid decided to go fight them there. They knew that Liquid would be desperate. It was the ward in the high ground, but yeah, the ward in the ward spot in the triangle. If Liquid wanted to go fight that because they knew they wanted to take advantage of that ward and the high ground advantage, they couldn't because Chicken Fighters was prepared for that. So they forced a desperate play from Liquid and punished it. That was really forward thinking. I like that by Chicken Fighters. They're playing a really good game.
And it's these plays are going to get a bit scarier now. Maybe now, not by the next Chronosphere, but perhaps by the second to next Chronosphere. We may have Cataclysm ready to go with plenty of points in the Exort, because Invoker with the Midas is quickly accelerating his farming speed.
Regeneration.
And I mean, that Cataclysm is crucial, I'd say, to really take advantage of these Chronos, because then I think you lose the option of Slark saving you, and maybe even the False Promise might not save you in Chrono with Cataclysm damage. It might just be the relocate from now on.
It's going to be close. It's going to be a bit difficult. Taiga now tethered to Mickey. He's going to be coupled with him as he looks to just get more farm around the map. It's the best way to utilize the Wisp, just constantly overcharging your allies to make sure that their farm is as efficient as could be. The scan's going to see one here because they know that Mickey's not alone. They just don't know who he's with.
Yeah. Taiga does see the creeps here. So he's like, alright, maybe Beastmaster's around. Maybe his creeps are on a mission to farm, but most likely Beastmaster's around. And I also like that he used Dark Troll Summoner, and he's like, well, I have a hero, the creep that can actually farm camps fastest, so I might as well use it for that, because like he couldn't find a Centaur just yet. And taking advantage of whatever creep he can find. Very adaptable here. Sorry,
Some,
FPS.
FPS issues
A lot of
here.
FPS issues, huh? In these qualifiers in general. Spider-Pix was having similar issues yesterday.
Yep. FPS, it's very difficult, man. It's you know 32.2 feet per second, natural acceleration, and you got to work in slugs. It's a whole thing here with the American system. But speaking of the system, Quakefa is going to have a killing system set up here pretty quickly. Just finishing up the Yule Scepter now. I'd like to see a smoke play around this. Chronosphere is now coming off cooldown, so I think now you hold your horses, especially with Aegis of Immortality on the Faceless Void. So get ready for a fight, and then if you can, withstand them, go just about even. I think you're still pretty strong here on Liquid if you can get a couple of these ultis out.
Yeah, so right now the Liquid wants to fight around the cooldowns, right? but that's the plan. As long as the Chrono's on cooldown, you go. But with the Aegis, you stop that from Liquid completely, at least in these minutes. So Chicken Fighters has a considerable advantage here. Slark is also not online, and it wasn't this panel that said it, but I remember, I think it was AUI that was talking about this. Like, Darkpact is okay for some recovery. It kind of farms, but it's nothing compared to, say, a Luna or a Medusa or any carry in the meta right now. So as you can see, despite Void being called a slow farmer, the Slark is not beating him by a lot. I mean, he has Maelstrom, though, to be fair. He does have Maelstrom.
Yeah, he's got Maelstrom.
I will give that little point to the Void, but still, the Slark should naturally have a bit more farm with the Dark Pack, but he's just not, because the hero's just not that great.
And speaking of farm, I do like that, of course, naturally on a Wisp, when you're just tethering people and following them around and giving them overcharge, you're not going to have a whole lot of farm for yourself. But I like that Insania is then stepping in here naturally and just picking up all the farm that's left over for him, right? He's going first for the Holy Lockets. I kind of would prefer to see maybe a Blink Dagger, because unlike like what else is, like unlike a Spectre game, right, when you're playing Oracle, if you stand further away from the Chrono, further away from this Invoker, further away from etc., XYZ, right, you will actually be able to blink back in and maybe get off a false promise. I think Holy Locket's great, and if there's someone who knows what to build on Oracle, it's definitely Insania, so I'm not questioning it, but I think I would definitely like to see a Blink Dagger from him this game.
Yeah, there's a point to be made. Like, the Beastmaster is the only one that can truly cut the fight and go and jump on the Oracle, or even with a creep, right? Either or. So either Aetherlens or the Blink Dagger, even the Force Staff would help him in that sense, right? But if he's signed for the Holy Locket, it might be that, again, he just wants to amplify his healing and the False Promise. He might be looking at the Cataclysm and being like, I can't heal enough for that Cataclysm to not kill anyone, even if I have False Promise. So all my efforts to survive will be useless because I can't heal him back enough. So maybe that's the boost. Maybe he's trying to boost up the IO as well. Holy Locket is very broken with an IO on your team. We'll see. Koikva in the wrong position. They hit him with a Cold Snap. There's immediately the Dispel.
We have Chrono.
Tornado will stop him. Ice Wall on top of that, then there's the Relocate. They hit him with the Primal Roar right as he got relocated. I think he should be fine with the Fountain healing. Yep. But I don't think Taiga will be in the same spot. Can he tether to anything? No, his teammates are leaving it behind. Taiga, good luck. Thank you for saving me. I'm going to go farm, and good luck with your life.
Yep, we'll use Primal Roar. So it's not like a free kill there for Chicken Fighters, but all things considered, not too bad either, especially because they still can fight. Level 1 False Promise, super long cooldown, great Dispel there, coming through from Insania, as Boxy still needing to try and escape here. He's got a blink in a second. We'll use that to go ahead and increase the gap, and off and away he goes. Pretty key there, because of course there's no save for him anymore, now that Wisp has both used Relocate, and that Oracle has used False Promise. It's a really spooky time right now for Liquid if they wanted to, say, for example, defend a Tier 2 tower, when Charlie still has Chronosphere. And Aegis.
Yeah, you cannot fight here right now. I mean, they can delay this, but Boxy, you got the spell here. They do have Chrono, but without the Oracle, okay. The Oracle has no False Promise, that's why you don't need to catch him in the Chrono. That's true. You did not save him with the healing from the Tether there. Taiga might still be in trouble as well as Mortimer's just coming out. They actually used the Winter's Curse to try to punish Taiga. Boxy did bite back though, and now it's time for them to re-engage. There's no Chrono. They do get a nice Fortune's End, but Mika has been stunned. They're trying to finish off Charlie, but the Fate Seed actually saved him for the Laguna Blade damage there. So Charlie's gonna be fine. He's going for Koikva next. They've healed Supreme thanks to the Cold Embrace, and now Boxy might actually be forced to die back. That is not what Liquid was expecting to do. Chicken Fighters turned this supposed counter initiation into just more kills for them.
Yeah, man, what did I say? Again, without Relocate, without False Promise, you're free to just play whatever kind of Faceless Void game you want. And he woke up today and he chose violence, killing Boxy twice. And that's the move to make. And guess what? You still don't have anything to stop them getting off your high ground. All 5 heroes fully healed. Once the Laguna Blade was out, Pexu could just freely throw down the heal onto Supreme to keep him alive. And Slark just knew he had to back off now. Good damage here onto Charlie. Oh, but they force Staff Insania forward, root him down, hit him with the cookie. Down he goes yet again. We've at least cut the waves here, but the mid lane barracks have gone down. And I mean, all Liquid had to do was just give up a Tier 2 tower. They take one fight, and look how much they lost. It's so punishing here. Great job by Chicken Fighters to recognize this.
Yeah, that's true. Chicken Fighters doing a really solid job of just maintaining the lead into this game, not letting Liquid really get ahead, which nullifies kind of the Slark pick in general. I like this. I think Chicken Fighters playing a very solid game with not many mistakes, really. And I don't think that's giving Liquid any opportunities to go and engage. Their initiation is decent, but it's much harder to initiate with a Slardar than it is with simply a Primal Roar, even if you have to catch the Oracle. And all these execution things we talked about from Chicken Fighters, they're doing them perfectly. They're catching the Oracle in every one of these Chronos, or they're messing up his false Chronos beforehand. They're not letting the IO relocate anyone to save him. It's very, very, very well played by Chicken Fighters.
Agreed. I think you can tell they're quite used to playing with the Faceless Void. There is a lot of counter synergy in this draft with Pexu having Winter's Curse, which could absolutely ruin a Chronosphere or a Cataclysm or both. But for now, the way I see Pexu playing this game, he's very much the healer. He's here to try and save the ulti if they need it in a team fight to turn it around for like a reset, or he's going to try and save his ulti to try and dissuade Liquid from fighting if they use Chronosphere and Liquid respawn fast enough to take a fight before the second Chrono is up, right? That's their concern, I think, and he's playing excellent with this. Oh, Insania, he's been found, doesn't have a Force Staff here, going to try and get himself to safety up onto the high ground. Boxy, Blink Dagger available in 4 more seconds. Oh, well, the aggressive Time Walk is not going to get him a bash, and in fact, out comes the Chronosphere. Kiss is now raining down. There's no relocate either. Insania's going to buy back just to be able to get back Boxy here, because another death on him would be really putting him beyond the 8 ball, but Supreme actually wanted to go forward. They even force staff him up, Abo. Now, as Insania is going to find himself in a bit of a difficult position, but he's going to keep himself nice and healthy with the Fate's Edict. But up towards high ground go Chicken Fighters.
Well done. Chicken Fighters now retreating though, and Liquid wanted to get some counter kills. There's the Cold Embrace the same from the physical damage, but they might be able to go for the supports anyway. Oh, Primal Roar with a Cataclysm, gonna burst down the Lina, trying their best. The healing's gonna keep Koikva alive. Charlie now fighting against Koikva, nice light strike array. They need a bit more physical damage. Deafening Blast will actually do the trick right as BKB ends, and they caught the Oracle as well. Insania is not gonna be able to survive. Mickey trying his best with the Shadow Dance, but he just doesn't have the damage. Winter's Curse even stopped Boxy from trying to flank him, and Boxy is going to fall together with Mickey, who's not capable of getting out. Oh, the relocate last second. I spoke too soon.
Spoke just a bit too soon, but still a huge win for Chicken Fighters. Boxy kind of getting kited around the fight, wants to keep Pexu out of this fight like real bad, for good reason. Unfortunately, he gets kind of kited around the cliffs, and the rest of his team just falls right around him. And here's the relocate back as they're going straight for Taiga. Now Mickey is super easy to kill, has no Shadow Dance. He's got the Dark Pact in a second, but is not going to be able to get it off. All 5 heroes dead. Chicken Fighters still in the base. As this time, it only takes a 5th of the duration as game number 1, and Chicken Fighters out for blood will close out game number 2.
If you still average both matches, you get an average of 60-minute games, right? So I think it's still fine. But Chicken Fighters, what a dominant performance, honestly. What else is there to say? Yeah, their draft was solid.